Hey guys, thanks for joining me. For this class, you're not going to need any equipment, but if you like something when you're seated to help prop you up, you're welcome to grab that. Or if you're on hands and knees and you need a little extra padding underneath your knees, that might be helpful, but we won't be in either of those positions for too long. So let's go ahead and get started. Start to find a position down onto your back. I'm going to stay seated, but go ahead and work your way down onto your back. And just fall into any position that would feel good to you. Give yourself some time to show up and check in with yourself. It's okay if your mind wanders. And start to notice places in your body that catch your attention. And with that same kind of focus, shift your attention to your breath. And try not to change it, just notice your breath. Pick up on the places of your body that might move a little bit when you breathe. This natural rise and fall. Without causing effort or strain, start to exaggerate this breath a little bit more. So your inhales will become a little bit fuller, feeling yourself expand like a balloon. Your exhales softly deflate that balloon. Everything gently draws back into center. Your inhales full, feeling your belly, your ribs, your chest expand. And exhale, everything softens. The balloon deflates. It's not meant to be perfect. Just get the sense that your breaths are a little bit fuller and deeper. Your exhales are a little bit softer and more complete. Do whatever you need to throughout the rest of this video to find this breath. This is your practice. Even if you stay just like this the entire time, breathe. Starting to play with adding some movement to your breath. On your next inhale, point your toes completely, like you're trying to point your toes down towards the floor. And on your exhale, flex your feet, spread your toes wide. bringing your toes back towards your shins. And keep moving like that. Your inhales point you. Your exhales flex. Really gentle movement here. Move about 1 or 2 more times like that. Don't rush your breath. Next time you point your toes, reach your arms up overhead. So inhale, point toes, reach arms, get super long, big morning stretch. And on your exhale, bend your right knee, hug your right thigh in towards your chest, either grabbing the back of your shin or around your leg. Inhale, big morning stretch. Exhale, bend your left knee this time, hug your thigh in. Keep moving like that. Inhale, expands you. Exhale, hug one knee into chest, just alternating side to side. Notice a tendency to want to rush past your breath. Come back to it. And next time you're hugging on to your right knee or your right leg, just hold it there. And go ahead and bend your left knee, plant your left foot flat on the ground, just so your hips can be a little bit more anchored, your shoulders soft. And send all of your breath into your right hip. You might rock your right leg side to side a little bit if that would feel good. But stillness is always an option in any shape we move through. Still holding on to your right leg, start to roll your right ankle out in a circle. Still with your breath. And start to reverse that circle. Noticing any pops or cracks or catches. Try to smooth it out with your breath. And then extend your right leg straight up towards the ceiling. Hold on to the back of your right thigh. And flex your foot a little bit. Take a breath in. Still holding on to your right leg. Exhale, bend your right knee. Let your foot drop down towards your hip. Inhale, you extend your leg. Exhale, bend your knee, your foot drops. A couple more like that. Focusing all of your attention on your right knee. Next time your right leg is extended, just hold it there. Bring your arms by your sides. Anchor your right hip down and press your right heel away from your hip. Steady breath. On your next exhale, cross your right ankle over your left knee. Hold here. Nothing too deep, too fast. Might feel good to use your right fingertips to press into your right thigh. Flexing your right ankle a little bit so that you feel this more in your right hip, not so much your knee.
And keep your legs as they are. Bring both hands down to the ground. Maybe scoot your left foot a little bit closer in. Inhale, press into your foot and your hands. Lift your hips up. Exhale, roll your spine down, hips come down last. Just a couple more times like that. Inhale, press down into your foot and your hands. Lift your hips up. Exhale, roll down. Lifting up one more time and then hold here. Starting to feel your left glute say a whole lot to you. Press down, breathe into that sensation that's building. On an exhale, lower your hips down, uncross your legs. Inhale into a big morning stretch. Exhale, hug your left knee in towards your chest. Hold it there. Bending right knee, plant that foot down. The hips and shoulders anchored. Unclench your jaw. Intentional breath into your left hip. And start to find your ankle circles. Reverse the circle. Enjoy this simplicity of the movement. Simple is so powerful. And then hold on to the back of your left leg. Extend your left leg up. And spread your toes a little bit. Enjoy that stretch. Take a breath in. Exhale, bend your left knee. Let your foot drop down towards your hip. Keep moving like that. Inhale, you extend. Exhale, bend. Let your foot drop. Twice more like that with your own breath. And then extend your left leg up towards the ceiling, arms by your sides. Plant your left hip down, push out through your heel. Cross your left ankle over your right knee, finding that figure four stretch. Gently press your left thigh away if that would feel good. And know that going deeper doesn't really mean better. Never sacrifice your breath just to find a deeper shape. Your breath is still the priority. Bring your left hand down to the ground. Maybe scoot your right foot in a little bit closer so you feel stable. On an inhale, press into your foot and your hands. Lift your hips up. Exhale, roll your spine down, hips down last. Twice more like that with your own breath. Your inhale lifts you up. Your exhale rolls you down. Next time you lift up, hold it there. Press into your right foot and into your hands. Enjoy the sensation as it builds. Breathe into it. Exhale, roll your spine down, uncross. Inhale, big morning stretch. Exhale, hug both knees into your chest this time. And again, either stillness or any rocking motion could feel really good. And bring same hand on top of same knee, so right hand on your right knee, left hand on your left knee. Inhale, circle your knees wide away from one another, and exhale, circle them back in, like you're stirring two cauldrons with your thigh bones. Circles can be as big or as small as you want, just trying to find this full range of motion in your hips. Start to reverse your circle. Good, and then hug both knees into your chest. Maybe even lift your forehead towards your knees if that would feel good. Lower your head back down, plant your feet, plant your hands, knees still bent. And your feet about hip distance apart. Inhale, press into your feet and your hands, roll your spine up by any amount. Exhale, roll your spine down. Hips come down last. Keep moving like this. Inhale peels you up like you're lifting one vertebrae at a time. And exhale, roll down one vertebrae at a time. Hips come down last. This is called rolling wave. Let your breath undulate your body. A few more times like that. Next time your hips are lifted, hold them up there. And think more about lifting your chest towards your chin instead of squeezing your chin down towards your chest. Find the openness across the front side of your body. Actively press down into your hands and your feet. Starting to feel the sensations build. The heat starts to wash over. Come back to the steadiness and ease of your breath. Full and complete inhales and exhales. One more cycle of breath. On your exhale, roll your spine down, hips come down last. Keep your knees bent, widen your feet a little bit so they're about mat distance apart. And maybe open your arms out to the sides. And start to windshield wiper your knees from side to side, really slow and gentle, like you're moving through honey. Getting this awesome internal and external rotation of your hips. This could feel really good if you've been sitting in a chair all day or after a long commute. You can do this while you're watching TV, even seated. Next time your knees fall over to one side, just hold them there. Maybe turn your head away from your knees and let gravity take over here. Lift your knees back up to center and then let them fall over to the other side. Head might turn away. Don't worry so much, does it look right? Am I doing it right? Focus more on the feeling of it. Lift your knees back up to center. Give yourself one more good squeeze. And roll over to one side. Use your upper arm as a pillow. Pause here for a few breaths. And press yourself up to seated. And move into any seated position that would feel good for you. You could be cross-legged or have your legs stretched straight out or sitting on your heels. An option to sit up on something too if your lower back gives you some trouble. But wherever you are, try to let your bony hip points be evenly rooted. So you might need to move a little extra cushion out of the way. Anchor down there like you're getting ready to plug in and recharge. And from there, sit comfortably tall. Let your shoulders soften down your back. And on your inhale, lift your chest up towards the ceiling. Maybe your gaze follows if that feels okay for your neck. So it's kind of like this back bend shape. Exhale, round your spine, curl in. Keep moving like that. Your inhale lifts you up. Exhale, curl in and round. A couple more times like this. Working your way back to center. Anchor back down through your hips. You're going to start to move in a circular position, so your heart will stretch forward and pull over to one side, round to the back, over to the other side, and then stretching your heart forward again. This big circular motion, keeping your hips anchored, and really the circles can be as big as small as you want. Just get into every nook and cranny of your spine. These are called Sufi grinds. There's really no wrong way to do it. Just make it feel really good. And start to reverse your circle. Still moving with your breath. Come back to breath. The circle becomes smaller and smaller until you eventually come back to that tall position in the middle. Inhale, reach both arms up overhead. Reach through your fingertips, find length on the sides of your waist. Then exhale, bring one hand down to the ground. Stretch up and over, find this big side stretch. Inhale, lift both arms up. Find length. Exhale, other hand comes down, side bend to the other side. Keep moving like that. Your inhales lift you up. Exhale, you move to a side bend. Don't worry if your breath is faster or slower than me. This is a good thing. Move with your own breath. Next time you're in a side bend, just hold there. It doesn't matter which side. Press your hips down and stretch through your top fingertips a little bit more, finding length on the sides of your waist. You might even turn your gaze up towards your top hand if that feels okay. And on your next inhale, pull your top shoulder back a little bit more. Find some more openness across the front of your chest. Breathe into that. It might be intense, it's okay. Exhale, bring both arms down. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, side bend to the other side, whichever side you didn't do.
And press down into your hips, stretch your top fingertips away. On your next inhale, pull your top shoulder back, open up across the front of your chest. Exhale, bring your hand down. Inhale, both arms reach up. Exhale, palms together at the center of your chest. Pause here. Tune back into your breath. Notice anything that's shifting. It might be really subtle. And then however makes the most sense to you, transition to hands and knees, tabletop. And this is a really good place if your knees give you trouble. You can put some padding underneath, just a blanket or even a thin pillow. Working your way to hands and knees, fingers spread wide, and your hands pretty much right underneath your shoulders, knees pretty much right underneath your hips. Take your time to set this foundation. And on your inhale, your belly drops down towards the mat. Stretch your heart forward, lift your gaze. Exhale, curl in, round your spine. Again, like that, your inhale opens you up. Exhale, curl in and round. Keep moving like that. Articulate each vertebrae. On your next exhale, hold that shape, the rounding of your spine, your head curling in, but let your breath keep moving. Inhaling and exhaling, maybe rock a little bit side to side, finding a little bit more space between your shoulder blades, maybe forward and back, circles. And on your next inhale, your belly drops, heart stretches forward, lift your gaze. Hold that shape, let your breath keep moving. Maybe rock a little bit. And come back to a neutral spine. Your gaze looking kind of straight down between your hands, a natural curve in your spine. Tuck all 10 toes under, even your stubborn pinky toes. And feel this firmness across your low belly, like your pubic bone is tilting towards your belly button. Try to keep that. Press into your hands and the balls of your feet. Lift your knees to hover the smallest inch. So this hovering table shape, now firing up a little bit more into your core. Squeeze your inner hips towards one another. Come back to your breath, steady breath. Notice how your breath changes when you meet a little bit more challenge. Try to smooth it out. One more cycle of breath. You got it. Exhale, knees down, untuck your toes, push your hips back to your heels, find child's pose. Lifting back up to tabletop, hands and knees. On a big inhale, lift up to kneeling, like you're standing on your knees. Stretch both arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, roll your wrists out as they open out, your arms open out to the sides, giving your wrists a little love. Let's do a couple more times like that. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, roll out your wrists. One more, inhale. Maybe a little back bend if that would feel good. Exhale, roll out your wrists. And bring your hands back down to the mat, tabletop position. Fingers spread wide.
And inhale, extend your right leg back behind you, like you're trying to put a footprint on the wall behind you. And just like before in that hovering tabletop shape, tuck your pubic bone towards your belly button. Feel your deeper core muscles start to fire up and knit in. You might stay right here. This is awesome. You might start to extend your left arm forward. Feeling things fire up a little bit more, maybe a little shaky and wobbly. That's good. It's a sign change is happening. Come back to your breath. Every inhale, get a little bit longer through your spine. On every exhale, knit in through your low belly. One more inhale wherever you are. Keep your right leg lifted, lower your left hand down to the ground. And bring your right leg all the way over to the left, so it crosses over your left knee, and look back at your right foot. Take a breath in here. Exhale, hug your right knee into your right shoulder, side crunch. Inhale, extend your right leg over to the left, look back. Exhale, side crunch. Keep moving like that a few more times with your own breath. Your inhale opens you up, and your exhale, you crunch. Next time you're in that side crunch, hold there. Squeezing your belly in. Squeezing knee to shoulder. One more cycle of breath. Exhale, knee down, child's pose. Feel free to roll out your wrists if they need some love. And notice the effect of that on your body. You come back to hands and knees and get excited because you have a second side. Extend your left leg back behind you. Getting the sense that your hips are level-ish, so mine's sitting pretty high. Think about spiraling the top of your left hip down, and you'll start to feel those deeper core muscles have to work a little bit more. Pressing back through your left heel. Try to smooth out your breath. You might stay right here. This is really good. Or extend your right arm forward. Keep reaching out on your inhales and knitting in on your exhales. One more cycle of breath. Keep your left leg lifted. Lower your right hand down and bring your left leg over to the right, crossing it over. Turn your gaze to look back at your foot. Take an inhale. Exhale, hug your knee to shoulder. Keep moving like that. Your inhale opens you. Exhale, squeeze. Next, side crunch, hold there. Squeezing your knee in. Breathing into the sides of your waist. One more. Exhale, knee down, child's pose, rest. Come back to hands and knees, tabletop. And stretch out your wrists a little bit. So flip your palms over so your palms are facing up and your fingers point towards you. And this might already be a whole lot, trying to bring your wrist down. You could have a little bend in your elbows to explore that sensation.
If you need a little bit more, maybe start to pull back a little bit. Whoo, and I'm starting to feel a whole lot across my forearms. Breathe. Can take some time to build wrist strength in your practice, so stay patient and roll out your wrists whenever you need to. Come back to hands and knees, shake it out. And however makes the most sense to you, you're gonna work your way up to standing. So you might just step 1 foot forward at a time and come all the way up, or you can come into downward facing dog, tuck your toes under, and lift your hips up and back for a few breaths. Maybe pedal out your knees a little bit. Give yourself what you need. The destination's the same, it's just gonna look a little bit different how we get there. Give yourself what you need. And if you're in downward facing dog, start to walk or step your feet to the top of your mat and work your way all the way up to a standing position. Getting nice and anchored in your feet. So just take a second to notice if you're leaning into one foot more than the other, if you're leaning forward or back. Find the very center point of both feet. Arms by your sides, palms face forward, and long spine here. Tadasana, mountain pose. Really powerful shape. Start to bend your knees and sink your hips back like you're sitting in a low chair. Maybe your hands stay on your hips, or you can reach both arms up towards the ceiling, finding chair pose. Take a big breath in here. Exhale, straighten your legs, stand tall, arms by your sides, mountain pose. Keep moving like that. Inhale into chair pose, either hands on your hips or arms forward. Exhale, mountain. Your own breath moves you here. Next time you're in chair pose, hold there. Maybe a little bit more weight into your heels. Let your hips sink back, heart lifted. Feel the heat start to build. Lean into it, find your breath. One more. Exhale, stand tall, mountain pose. Pause here. Let the yoga happen, integrate. Feel and notice. If they aren't already, open your eyes and find a gaze point in front of you, something that doesn't move. Start to shift all your weight into your left foot. Lift your right knee up in front of you. Inhale, both arms sweep up, stork pose. Exhale, right foot down, sink your hips back, both arms sweep back. Inhale, lift back up to standing, left knee lifts up this time. So we're alternating leg and leg. Exhale, foot down, sweep it back. Inhale, lift up, one knee up. Keep moving. Next time you have one leg lifted, hold there. Doesn't matter which leg. Press down into your standing leg. Get a little bit taller. Let Let yourself be wobbly. It doesn't matter how many times your foot taps down, just come back. This is how you build your balance. Come back to it. One more breath in. Exhale, foot down, sweep it back. Inhale, lift up other leg. Maybe one side needs a little bit more love than the other. One more inhale. Exhale, foot down, sweep back. Inhale, lift both arms up, stand tall. Exhale, palms together at the center of your chest. Pause here, notice. Your arms fall by your sides, and then take a big step back towards the back of your mat until you end up in this wide leg stance. All 10 toes pointing towards the long edge of your mat. And bring your arms out into a strong T position. Turn your left toes to point towards the end of your mat. Put a deep bend in your left knee. Keep your arms strong. Searching for this external rotation sensation in your hips. And like you're trying to tear your mat in half with your feet. So I'm pressing into my right leg just as much as my left. Starting to flow with your breath a little bit. Inhale, straighten both legs, reach both arms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, bend your left knee back into warrior two. Keep moving like that. Inhale lifts you up. Exhale, you press your arms down. A few more. Next time you're in warrior two, hold there. Keep your lower body as it is. Flip your left palm facing up. Inhale, your left arm comes up and over your head. Your right hand can come to the back of your right leg or wrap it around your back. Your lower body pushes down and forward. Upper body stretches up and back. Reverse warrior. One more full breath in. Exhale, straighten your legs, hands onto your hips, and turn all 10 toes to point toward the long edge of your mat again. Roll your shoulders out a little bit. That should probably feel really good right about now. And bring your hands onto your shoulders, fingers kind of tented like little spiders, and start to draw big circles with your elbows. Maybe the elbows come together in front of you. Feel it out, finding that full range of motion in your shoulders. And then start to reverse. When that feels complete, bring them back out to the sides. Find that strong T. And turn your right toes towards the edge of your mat. Bend your right knee. Find warrior two on this side. Adjust your feet as you need to. Get stable. And think about drawing your tailbone under slightly so I still feel that firmness in my low belly. Sometimes you gotta check in with your back arm. It does its own thing. Starting to flow with your breath. Inhale, straight legs, arms up. Exhale, warrior two. A few more. Next time you're in Warrior Two, hold there. Keep your lower body as it is, flip your right palm up. Inhale, sweep up and back. Find more space in the right side of your waist. One more inhale. Exhale, step to the top of your mat, feet together-ish, or hip distance apart, arms by your sides, feel. And interlace your fingers behind your back. Keep your legs strong and keep the integrity of your low belly. So if you feel like you're having this big back bend shape here, draw your tailbone under slightly, tip the pubic bone towards your belly button. Keep firm here so you can find the opening across the front of your chest. With your fingers behind your back, stretch your knuckles down towards your heels until you feel something across the tops of your shoulders, maybe into your chest. So many of us are really tight right here, so this might be enough. Stay here, breathe. Don't sacrifice your breath. If your body's saying there's a little bit more, start to lift your hands away from your hips a little bit. Breathe into that. You can stay right here or back off, or maybe a little bit more, keeping your legs strong. Lift your chest up towards the ceiling, find a little bit of a back bend shape. Option to stay lifted up, or on an exhale, bow deeply. Maybe your arms come up over your head. Keep a generous bend in your knees. Let your head fall heavy. Release your hands down to the ground wherever you are. Inhale, lift up halfway. Either bring your hands on top of your shins or your thighs so you can have a long flat back. Draw your shoulders back. Take another breath in. Exhale, bend your knees again. Let your torso melt over your thighs. Trying to bring belly to thighs, head falls heavy. A few more times like that. Inhale lifts you halfway. Find a really long spine. Exhale, fold back down. Flow with your breath. One more. Start to widen your feet, mat distance apart, your toes kind of pointed out slightly. And bend your knees and sink your hips. This might be a whole lot. Stay right there. Maybe your hips sink down quite a bit. Maybe your hands stay down on the ground, or you can bring your palms together. Wherever you are, think about pressing into the outside edges of your feet. Encourage your knees to open and keep a long spine. Malasana. One more cycle of breath. Exhale, bring your hips down to seated. Bend your knees and plant your feet in front of you. And hold on to the backs of your thighs. Sit super tall. Draw your shoulders back, keep your chest lifted. And then start to lean back a little bit, as far as you can without the rounding in your shoulders starting to happen, so long spine. Start to dig your heels into the mat, your toes lift up. And notice how you start to feel that firing up in your deep core muscles again. You can stay right here, this is awesome. Or maybe you start to lift your feet up, so you're balancing on your tailbone. Option to stay here or extend your arms forward. Any of those options, think about lifting your chest towards your thighs, and at the same time squeezing your thighs back towards your chest. Breathe. One more cycle of breath, I know. Exhale, feet down, plant your hands back behind you. Fingers point forward. Option one is to press into your hands, lift your chest up, stay here, or maybe lift your hips too, stretching out the front side of your body. You can keep your chin tucked or let it fall back, whatever feels good. If they aren't already, lower your hips down, widen your feet, mat distance, and find those windshield wipers. As you might have heard in my classes a couple times, the magic numbers in yoga are 3, 5, and 108. So lucky for you, we're going to do that 2 more times. Come back to planting your feet on the ground. Hold on to the backs of your legs. Sit tall. You don't have to stick with the same option with this. You might just dig your heels, maybe lift your feet. Maybe your arms extend forward. Hug your inner hips in towards one another. Keep lifting your chest towards your thighs. Breathe. Shaking is good. Change is happening. Breathe. One more. Exhale, feet down, hands behind you. Maybe just lift your chest, or you could lift your hips too. Lower your hips down, widen your feet, windshield wipers. One more time with that. Plant your feet, hold on to the backs of your thighs, sit tall. Option one, dig your heels, lift your feet, maybe release your hands. Unclench your jaw. Intentional, purposeful breath. One more breath, this is it. Exhale, feet down, hands plant, lift your chest, maybe your hips. Hips come down, widen your feet, windshield wipers. And when that feels complete for you, lay all the way down on your back. Hug your knees in one more time. Either stillness or movement, you choose. If you feel called to move in a certain way, don't ignore it. It's always right. And bring your arms out to the sides. Scoot your hips to the left a little bit and let your knees fall over to the right. So you end up in this reclined twist shape. Maybe your head turns away from your knees, and adjust in any way you need to so that you're really heavy here. It could be helpful to place a block or a pillow in between your thighs or underneath your thighs. Let your shoulders be nice and heavy. And then really start to give yourself over to your breath. Little to no muscular effort.
Try to resist the urge to move or fidget too much. Let yourself be still. Just a few more breaths right here. Take all the time you need to bring yourself back to center, no rush. And pause for a second before you move to the other side. Notice any difference between right and left. There might be nothing, it might be subtle. Just notice. And then start to scoot your hips to the right. Let your knees fall over to the left. Not expecting this to be exactly the same as the other side. So adjust as you need to make it feel really good. Again, you could pad yourself up a little bit if needed. And then start to sink. Settle into your bones. Anywhere you're working, let it go. Your jaw, your eyes, fingers. Let everything become heavy. Just a few more breaths here. Stay with it. Bring yourself back to center. And take any other shapes or movements that might feel really good. Anything you're craving. There's no wrong way to move. And when that feels complete for you, move into a position of rest, Shavasana. Limbs heavy, eyes heavy, everything heavy. no control of your breath. Just take rest. Start to deepen your breath. And bring gentle movement back into your body. Rock your head side to side. And eventually hug your knees in. No rush. And take all the time you need to roll over to one side. Pause there for a few breaths. Then work your way back up to seated. Keeping eyes closed or a soft gaze as you work your way to a seat. And savor these last few moments of your practice. The sweetness of your breath. And join your palms together. Pause for a moment of gratitude. Grateful for your health, your safety, your breath and your body. All things that sustain you. Take a breath in. Let it go. Until next we meet, namaste. Thank you so much for joining me. Be well. I'll see you soon.